Hi, welcome to my journey. I got up today and I was like, I think I'm gonna go out here and mow the lawn. And all I would be doing is mowing up leaves because I ain't got no grass. So I decided, nah, I ain't gonna do it. I ain't gonna do it. And I'm like, okay, so what are you gonna do? I'm like, well, I could go to the senior center and work out. No, I can't. It's the weekend. Or can you go on the weekend? But I'm getting out a little earlier than usual. Hold on. Okay. So it is Saturday, December 20th. And yeah, I was going to do the lawn and I was like, why do the lawn when all you're going to do is just pick up a few more leaves and there's still leaves on the tree, just wait. Just wait, right? Why? Because that bag that I had full of leaves did not get picked up because the neighbor across the street, had their car parked or let's just be real, because I've seen the bulk trash pickup people just zoom by and not even look for trash, okay? So I ain't gonna just put it all on the fact that, there was a car parked out there. But let me tell you something. If ain't nobody gonna say it, I'm gonna say it. And that is, our trash people are not doing their job properly, right? What does that mean? That means that now we got to start paying auditors, right? We got to pay the supervisors to start coming outside of the fucking office or working from home, to go out and review their employees' job performance. Where did that go? Where did that come from? Because it's needed. If it wasn't needed, it would have never been created, right? If everybody just did their job the way they were supposed to do their job. All right. Now, yesterday, I was kind of disgusted because I'm like, damn, they got all these people working in these jobs and they're not doing their job correctly. And yet here I am, victimized by them, right? Having to correct them in their job just so that I could get some kind of justice. And I'm like, if that's the case, then how come I'm not just the justice from the beginning? How come I'm not the auditor from the beginning? Why do I have to suffer and then retaliate because of their stupid asses aren't doing the jobs that they're getting paid to do, even though they tap dance better than Sammy Davis Jr., better than Fred Astaire to even get the job in the first place that they said they wanted so bad, right? That they would sacrifice a family member in order to have some money. And the way that they choose to get their money was through this job. Oh my God. So, yeah. I'm like, okay, that would just be another bag of leaves out there. You know, technically, I could, you know, call down there to the city and report it. I could do that. But I don't feel like it. I don't feel like doing that. Right? Just like I didn't feel like, you know, contacting the lady that was in charge of, you know, the Texas Discovery Gardens. I didn't feel like contacting her because I was like, let me give her ample time to correct this, right? Because sometimes, you know, we have things on our to-do list, and you know, our to-do list is a lot longer than, you know, than what people would, you know, assume. But I'm like, nah. She ain't gonna correct this matter. I'm gonna have to tell her to correct it. So I went ahead and I had to email her yesterday to correct my volunteer report, right? With the 4.5 hours that she did not record. Okay? Then I'm like, well, since I'm in the correcting mood, let me go ahead and put in a dispute to Uber and let Uber know that they only gave me a partial refund, and I had to go ahead and do that and send them, you know, a copy of the fucking receipt. So yeah, you know, those kind of things, they kind of piss me off, right? It pisses me off, right? Because they held on to my money how long? Since December 3rd? The only money they refunded me was the money that I made through Uber. That's the only money that they gave me. They didn't refund me the money that I had to use out of my pocket. So December 3rd, 17 days. Right? Because they already tell you, you know, give them, you know, what, 3 to 5 business days, you know, to make sure that, you know, they have enough time. And it's just like, oh, what the fuck? And even then, on both accounts, I couldn't talk to a live person. I had to do this shit by email. And I'm like, okay, cool. You know, I like email. Email definitely has a way of, you know, creating a trail, a paper trail. Okay? Even if they delete it, it still has to go to another system for a permanent deletion. So it's not really deleted right away, even though it's removed. All right. So now, there are things that I could be doing that I don't like doing. And one of the things that I don't like doing is I don't like housework. I just don't. You know, I'll cook all day and night as long as I ain't got to do the cleanup afterwards. Right? Most of the time when I do cook, I clean up right after I cook because I don't like the stains. I don't like the work, that it takes to clean the pots if you wait until it gets crusty and cruddy on the dishes. And that's kind of how I feel also when it comes to when we have to fix anything. When we have to fix anything, it should be immediate, right? So that to reduce the damage, to reduce the effort that it's gonna take, right, to have to do that. And yes, it may seem like, well, if we're that thorough, then there wouldn't be no need for auditors and this, that, and the third. And then people will be so jealous of the auditors, right, that they're like, we shouldn't have to pay the auditors, just to overlook, your tax forms. Some people are dumb as fuck. Right? So that's one of the reasons why, they got rid of the auditors. They got rid of the auditors also because the auditors, when they found discrepancies, they had to bring the discrepancies up and show them, hey, there's this discrepancy, there's that discrepancy. And a lot of them was hoping that the auditor didn't even find the discrepancies because why? That's kind of like somebody who knows that they're cheating on their taxes and they go to a tax preparer, and give the tax preparer bad information and have the tax preparer sign off, that the taxes are done. And yet, the tax preparer, is basically saying that they prepared the taxes according to the information that they were given. The tax preparer is not, right? Is not verifying and certifying that these people's taxes are indeed correct. The only thing that's correct is the information that they were given. The information that they weren't given is not going to be correct. You see what I'm saying? So, some people, they want to try to throw the tax preparer underneath the bus, right? Stating that, the taxpayer knew, the taxpayer went along with it, the taxpayer was the one that told them that they shouldn't, file this and file that, and they will do that. And they will do that. That's one of the reasons why I never wanted to be a tax preparer, because I know how people are. But I didn't know that that's what throwing somebody under the bus was. I didn't even know what throwing somebody underneath the bus meant. I'd say probably until recently, right? Because I'm like, that just doesn't make any sense, throwing somebody under the bus, it just didn't click in my mind, what that possibly could mean, because I'm not that one. I am not that one that goes around here, scheming and scamming. Therefore, it doesn't automatically, occur to me, why people do devious things. Right? I don't do devious things because I don't want it to catch up on me later on. right? The karma, the consequences, the repercussions. I don't want any of that, to catch me at the most inopportune time, when I was probably thinking everything was, groovy, copacetic, easy street, like that. So damn, today is hot. Whew. It's 65 out here, and I am sweating. I thought it was going to be cold, but no, I'm sweating. I mean, I knew it was warmer than yesterday, because I felt that, I got some of my best tennis shoes, not feeling the need to keep it warm. But I think I'm definitely gonna need to pull off this sweat jacket that I have on, because it's just too hot. I'm sweating like crazy. But it feels really good though. This heat feels good. It feels really good. So one of the things that I was downloaded, because I'm a cusper, right? I'm a cusper, and Gemini Taurus. That also means that's my AC. My IC is also cuspy on Scorpio and Sagittarius, right? And I'm like, yeah, I know that, right? But then it was brought to my attention that I have planetary placements on the inside and the outside, and those two placements are Taurus and Scorpio. And I was like, yeah, all right. So inside I'm a Taurus, and outside I'm a Scorpio. Got it, right? And I have planetary positions there. So I have that position of inside and outside. And I was like, oh, okay. Because a lot of people, they don't have placements inside and outside. They may have placements on the inside. Of course, that's their sun, right? But they don't have placements on the outside of themselves. And I'm like, but I do. Scorpio, right? Not to mention, I have a trine with Saturn in Capricorn on my MC. In conjunction with Jupiter in Aquarius, right next to it. Like, wow. And and that's one of the beautiful things about being a cusper, right? Because the way that this whole subject even came up was the fact that, oh look, they down here riding their horse. Look at there. Ain't that nice? Huh. They down here riding a horse. But that means that, if you have any idea of what it means to have Saturn on your MC trining your AC, in conjunction with Jupiter, right? And so the whole thing that made me think about this again is the fact that this whole year, we went through a lot of cusping placements, right? And people don't even understand these cusping placements, right? Because they were confused about the moon placements. They were confused about, what day, the equinoxes, like tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to be faced with the winter solstice, right? And that just means the commencement of winter, right? And winter, spring, summer, they are all put on the equinox. Okay? They are all put on the equinox points. Oh, this is so beautiful. Look at these people down here. Look at the doodle. The doodle down here looking like a poodle. So, yeah, I think I'm gonna come right here and try to take off my jacket because I am sweating. It's so hot. People are down here in these shorts and halter tops. Hold on. So, why wouldn't a business want to know that there are mistakes being made? Well, because that means that they will have to bring it to their attention. That's why so many of them, they plug their ears and, and be obtuse to what you're saying, because otherwise, the responsible thing to do would be to fix it, right? And fixing things definitely, takes planning and it's one thing to be on a trail and figure that you have pedestrian rights, right? But it's another thing to be on the street and cause people to go on the opposite side of the road and might get in an accident because of your stupid ass, right? There's a trail right along here. Even the horses are walking in the grass beside, the trail. But, you can't You can't force people to use their common sense. That's the sad part. You cannot force people to use their common sense. Right? Because even myself, if I had came down here, and when I first came down here, it was like barren, not that many people down here, maybe feel like, yeah, I got all the freedom to do whatever the hell I want to do. Right? But if I get out here and start realizing that, oh, I ain't the only one coming down here, doing my thing. Therefore, I need to, follow the laws of civilization and cooperate because there are other people down here. I mean, people do some of the weirdest things when it comes to them feeling like they're isolated, right? That's why, I was shocked when they were talking about all of these heinous crimes and activities that was happening in these small towns. Okay? And I was like, oh, that's right, there's no supervision out here. And even if there was supervision, there's no enforcement. Okay? So that's why a lot of times in the small towns, they tried to say, oh, things that happen in these small towns, are found out and travel, and news travels, fast in these small towns. It can. However, much of the time in these small towns, people already know, who got power, who got control, who don't want to be talked about. Yeah, who don't want to be talked about. And so that's why so much of the time that, people in smaller towns definitely will feel like they should go along to get along because, yeah, they're in a small town and, they may not feel like they can get away from somebody that,